In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at the current conditions as always, and also diving into that exciting modeled guidance where we have a lot more snowfall expected for the Northeast than we've seen pretty much all winter long. It is a big possibility that over the next 15 days we see more snowfall in that region than we've seen all winter before that point, which is extremely crazy to think about. And we'll even take a look as we work our way into March here, what we expect for the beginning of March. Now we can see that there is some mixed precipitation happening here for Washington and Oregon there. And also as we work our way through the Rocky states, we start to see some snowfall, especially for the state of Montana there, but also for states like northern Wyoming, portions of South Dakota, and even down through Colorado as well. Now equally, we have another portion here of the upper Midwest experiencing some snowfall. This is going to be mostly for North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. And then probably what we're seeing is a jet stream doing something like this. So what we're seeing is a lot of rainfall as you work your way up the East Coast, where it's much more mild, and then these areas are dealing with the more Arctic air masses. So there is some showers working their way through, especially as we work our way into kind of the southern Appalachian Mountains, the southern Mid-Atlantic, and even the southern Ohio Valley, I would say, in this area. And then for portions of the Northeast where we expect snowfall later on, there is some rainfall or snowfall happening, depending on where you're at. It does look like there's a snow squall. It's a special weather statement. Let's see what this is all about. So yeah, heavy snow showers in there is what this is saying. So definitely that is what we're experiencing at this point. Let's just take a look at this. Yeah, so the precipitation typing is obviously getting this one a little bit wrong, as we work through our way into Norfolk, Massena there, Malone, these areas in northern upstate New York, very far northern upstate New York. There is heavier snowfall showers happening at this point. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is move on, and we're going to move into that modeled guidance. Take a look at that. Now, first things first, as always, we're going to be taking a look at this European model. Let's just take this towards about tomorrow afternoon, because I want to see what's happening by this point. We'd see some heavier snowfall developing throughout the northwest and the north central United States there. We do have a bit of a snow system, or better yet, storm system, over the southwest of the United States and the northwest of Mexico. And then there is some, again, mixed showers happening here over the eastern United States. As we work this through a little bit more, we can see a stronger storm developing here over Missouri, with a cold front extending down, warm front here. And again, we talk about this time and time again, but we'd be watching these areas south of this warm front and to the east of that cold front for potential severe weather. And on the west end of this storm, we could see just tremendous amounts of snowfall, especially over the Four Corner states and the Rockies, as there's another low over these areas. So definitely a very stormy time frame during the day on Wednesday the 22nd there. And then as we take a look at Thursday the 23rd as well, we see this low pressure is mostly up here, and we see some snowfall throughout the upper Midwest and Northeast, and then potentially some thunderstorm activity here on the southern end of things. Meanwhile, we see some snow showers developing once more out west once again, and that's really what's the main theme at this point. Now, as we take a look at about Friday, and it's going to be, again, the 24th here, we see more of this storminess working its way through the southwest, mostly snowfall throughout the Sierra Nevadas here and the southern Rockies, as you can see. And then we have these showers taking place across kind of your deeper south and the southeast, the Gulf states, those areas. But it's mostly going to be minor activity in there. We do see a bit of a storm system developing here by the time we're reaching Saturday into Sunday. That's the 25th into the 26th. This is developing near the Outer Banks, and this will be bringing some precipitation with it, but it doesn't seem to be a major storm whatsoever. Meanwhile, there's a little bit more of a major system over the southwest, where, again, California and Nevada getting impacted with some of that rainfall and snowfall, respectively, depending on where you're at. Now, we get another storm system by the time we're reaching Monday the 27th here, a strong low, cold front here, warm front there, and I definitely think there's some strong potential for severe weather underneath for a lot of these areas in here on Monday. And then even as we reach into Tuesday, you can see that these areas in here would be receiving some impact from it, as we can see a 974 millibar low pressure center there. Heavy snowfall here for all of these areas. We can already see our next storm system moving in through the west. So we see that develop, and that's moving onshore. This is the very end of the model run here on March 2nd, so we can't get any further. Jet stream is doing about like this at the end of the model run, so we see some rising warm air, especially the more towards the middle of the country you go. And then we see some snowfall here on this western end of things for portions of the Four Corner states and some other western states. Now, the total precipitation tells the full story. Clearly, we're going to have a lot of storms moving onshore to the west coast, and then we'll have some occasional rising storms through the central United States. This will bring some severe weather activity into these areas. That's why we get some heavier, more isolated amounts there. And then we get a lot of snowfall in here and rainfall, definitely at times. It just depends. Now, as we take a look at that total snowfall here, we can see there's obviously gargantuan amounts for the mountainous west, but also we see here for this kind of flatter area here, we can see for the upper Midwest and the Northeast there, we expect 2 to 3 feet potentially for especially these blue and gray areas. And here for the White Mountains, the Green Mountains, and the Adirondacks, and then out here for portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Now, as we take a look at the GFS model, we're going to see that there is some agreement, some disagreement here, but we're primarily going to focus in on the pattern after the European model ends. So we see this major storm here towards the end of the model run, right around the 28th there. So we get this kind of wintry precipitation on the northern end, potential for severe weather here on the southeastern end. Definitely a very, very interesting solution. And as we reach into about March 1st, we get a pretty strong low here just near New England, and this brings a snowstorm for most of New England right around March 1st. That's going to be a Wednesday. We get another rising storm right around March 2nd. This is a very strong low, 971, so we would have pretty strong rotation in this direction. And as you can see, there's plenty of strong thunderstorms to the south of this low. And it seems like there's also some heavy rain to the north of it. There's not enough cold for this to be primarily a snowstorm. But as it rises up into the northeast, we see this becomes a massive Canadian snowstorm. That's by Friday the 3rd. We get a little bit quieter for a moment, but we get another major storm here for the east. So it seems like a lot of this activity for March is shifting to the east of the United States. But I have to mention we do have another very strong storm moving onshore to the west as well. So it's going to be intense on both coasts. And then actually we closed the model run off with a look just like this by the time reaching about March 8th. Plenty of snowfall out west and pretty much warm and dry for the east. That seems to be the trend this winter, and it doesn't look to stop anytime soon according to this GFS model. Now, as we take a look at the total snowfall here, you might have missed it, but we expect huge amounts of snowfall for these areas in here. Absolutely crazy amounts, over 3 or 4 feet here for especially the more pink areas within those blues. So definitely a very, very heavy snowfall period is expected there according to that GFS model. We see that we're going to be warmer overall. We do get a colder period right around the 25th here across a lot of the east. The west is going to stay cold the entire model run for the most part, so we're not going to mention too much of that because it's staying cold the entire time. And we're primarily seeing, this is pretty much what we're seeing most of the model run here, is this very warm rising air here in most of the east, and this very intense trough out west, just consistently cold all the way through, even into the end of the model run here on March 7th here. We can see that we have brutal cold out west and very, very mild spring-like temperatures in the east. So, kind of as I've been alluding to, I expect this spring-like weather to continue into spring. You guessed it. So, we're going to see 2 springs this year, it appears. The first one happened all during the winter, and the second one is going to be during the actual spring. So, there it is. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We're going to continue to update you guys daily, so be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon so you never miss one. Also, like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.